China's low-altitude economy is in focus after the government launched a new development unit to cement its trajectory late last year. Now, the upcoming 2 sessions could outline incentives for this sector as China seeks new engines of growth to boost its economy. Deborah Wong has this report.
Whether it's flying taxis or drone cameras, China's low-altitude economy is taking off. Considered as one of the most scalable are drone deliveries, something that's ascending in popularity in the tech city of Shenzhen.
It's common to see yellow lockers outside buildings by delivery platform Meituan across China. But this collection point takes it to the next level, and I'm going to show you why. So I've just ordered some drinks on the app, and now we'll wait for it to arrive.
While I wait, a couple of delivery riders showed up, looking for their customers in the park. But these drones won't have that problem.
So this entire process took about 20 minutes, around the same time as a regular bicycle delivery, although the delivery fee was slightly higher. There are also fewer options because we're limited to choices around the drone delivery hubs. And the app also stops me from ordering too many things, otherwise it'll be too heavy for the drone. But the fact that it's no longer such a novelty speaks to how widely accessible drones have become in China.
China's economic planner created the Low-Altitude Economy Development Unit in December, a rare move to drive growth in a specific sector. It expects the sector to reach over $200 billion by this year and double that amount in 10 years. 21-year-old Leo Li is banking on it to go far.
我蛮小的时候我就开始接触航模，包括无人机这一类的。然后在我上大学之后，偶然间接触到一个社团。 然后从那里开始接触到无人机、穿越机。当时我们学校有一些专项的资金去支持我们去做这些事情嘛，然后慢慢就做一些科研项目，慢慢就开始接触到这个更深的门类里面来。
The computer science graduate snagged a job at this Shenzhen-based company 2 years ago, fresh out of university. CADDX FPV develops first-person view drones, which is right in Leo's wheelhouse. But there was still a steep learning curve.
无人机它相比其他的一些学科它更加的细分化。就比如说相机、图传、飞控，包括电控系统，这放到任何一个小的部件里，其实它都是一个很大的一个门类了，需要有非常全面的了解。 所以说，在刚开始接触的时候，我也是什么都不懂。推油门，它就起来了。
Well, now he knows enough to train rookies like me.
我们课程基本上包含很多，像包括无人机的操控，包括像 FPV 无人机一些硬件知识，像电机的一些原理、飞控的原理。它不仅仅是说教你怎么飞，更多的是教你就是更加的认识透这个东西。接一个图传。
Leo is a product manager, but he now doubles up as a trainer, as China's labor market is still playing catch-up with the shift.
Before the concept was raised, the low-altitude economy, it was actually very hard to find skilled professionals, FPV pilots or engineers. But last year, there are many training institutes step in to train pilots. China really needs about 1 million pilots to support the low-altitude economy. When people talk about low-altitude economy, they only focus on the bigger one, like the eVTOL. We also might provide industry solutions to transportation, delivery, search and rescue.
In fact, the company plans to hire about 100 more workers this year as interest in the sector peaks. It's also gotten a boost to scale up operations.
Apart from setting up this building, the government also connected us with a lot of industry partners for better supply chain management and also product innovations. We work with our local government to organize a FPV drone racing event. It's like the F1 in the sky. In 2025, FPV racing will become a sport in the Chinese national game.
Last year, Guangdong province proposed building a low-altitude economy hub by 2026. pledging government funds to support the endeavor. The plan could pave the way for low-altitude air routes between Guangdong and Hainan.
，FPV 无人机它有个很大的特点，就是说它的灵活性，包括它的一个自由度。当然，相信未来 FPV 无人机的运用会更加广泛，可能在这行干到老吧。
Above all, for young Chinese like Leo, it offers possibilities that didn't even exist a generation ago.
And for more on China's digital transformation, we're joined by Shan, a partner and research economist at Hutong Research, and she's speaking to us from Shanghai. We also have with us CNA's Deborah Wong in Hong Kong. Welcome to you both. I have to say, Deborah, it's pretty cool to see your package being delivered by a drone, and you know, you're saying that it's quite a common thing. Clearly, China going big on low-altitude economy. But how feasible do you think this goal is as a growth engine for China?
Well, it's feasible because, you know, aside from the expected $400 billion that the sector expects to bring in the next 10 years, we're also talking about job creation. Now, you heard from the story that, you know, China needs about 1 million pilots, you know, and that figure is only going to be going up because we're talking about demand for drone services increasing, and that's going to be creating a whole new supply chain behind it. And, you know, the government has also set the stage for this to work. We're talking about government backing, and that includes money for the private sector. You know, they are also going to be reducing the regulatory red tape for companies to innovate. And for that aspect, we're talking about increasing access to even more aviation test zones, or even provision of office spaces, and even more funding to do with that. Connection is also important. If you heard in the story from CADDX FPV, you know, that company was actually, you know, given networking opportunities to link up with like-minded industry partners, and that actually helped them source new material or even, you know, bounce off ideas for R&D as well, because it's all part of brand building.
Right, and Shan, what Debs was saying, $400 billion, that's what the sector, you know, is going to bring, but clearly there will be challenges. So I'm curious to know, what do you foresee, you know, in terms of the challenges scaling up this sector to be a world leader? And do you think that the big tech meeting with President Xi last week offer any way forward or insights?
Yes, you're right. There are indeed a lot of challenges that China itself is facing, as well as the low-altitude economy we're talking about here. And I would say the most important one is the geopolitical environment China is in right now. With Donald Trump as the new U.S. president, and we all know a lot of things has been going on in the past months. The U.S. has been really hinting up the trade war, but not only trade war, but also the tech war and the investment war with China. We're talking about the U.S. released a trade policy and another investment policy in the past months. And all of that not only restrict U.S. companies from investing in China, but also is trying to convince other countries from investing in China. So the geopolitical environment is really becoming very challenging for China to continuously attract foreign investment that is still critical to advance its technology and access the most advanced technologies in the world. So that is actually why we see President Xi's symposium with the tech leaders 2 weeks ago was super important to actually change or address the challenges we're talking about. First of all, the geopolitical environment positions China in a challenging situation to grow. And growth is very important to continue any development of the industry, and especially to bring profit into that industry. So for President Xi to chair a meeting with the private sector, private business leaders, he brings confidence back to the economy. And he's saying that I value your input to the economy, I see your importance, and I encourage you to lead. So the second message out of that symposium is that, okay, tech is China's breakthrough to all of the geopolitical challenges. And this is very important for China in not only in the near term, but also in the long term. And low-altitude economy is one way, like China is testing out its most advantaged technologies, drones, EV, so all the other technologies, not only the technologies products itself, but also the supply chains to support the entire technology and application of that. I think those are the key messages out of the symposium, and we're looking at more support to boost China's domestic demand as well as to support the innovation.
Shan, I want to jump in here and ask you about transformation. How do you foresee that specifically the low-altitude economy could transform China's traditional industries and the way that they do things?
Yes. It is still in the early stage, but it's really a combination of all the different technologies I just talked about. It's a combination that it's an application scenario where you apply the battery technologies as well as the semiconductor, as well as the other control center software and hardware. It's actually pretty well described in the video, which just the student mentioned that he had to learn a lot of the technologies to actually understand and control perfectly a drone. So this is where you have an application scenario to advance China's technology development. And this is not only for Shenzhen and for the developed cities and for the young graduates out of school to find a job. But when you have a technology, you also can apply it to other places in China. We are actually seeing two China in this situation. One is the developed area. The other one is the less developed area. And one thing I keep mentioning to our clients is that the new policy, the new urbanization China is undergoing is that you want to make the big cities bigger so that you have all the talents together to create, to innovate the technologies, to test them out, and then you can apply the technology to other parts where people are flowing out anyway. So you actually increase the productivity, not only in the large cities, but also in the other ones, so that everyone can benefit.
Now, Deborah, a transformation, any kind of transformation, always brings anxieties of people fearing that they're going to lose their jobs. How big of a concern is this among the traditional sectors?
So logistics and transport sectors, these two sectors will definitely see the biggest hit, because aside from drone deliveries, we're also looking at autonomous vehicles like what Shan mentioned, in Wuhan, there are robo-taxis in the streets and passengers actually receive a cheaper fare as compared to the traditional taxis. Factories, they could also be getting more high-tech when they adopt smart manufacturing. And, so far analysts estimate that there's going to be millions of jobs that will be displaced with automation. But, I spoke to some factory owners and they accept that this is going to be part and parcel of transformation. They know that they can't beat it, so they have to join it. And what I mean is increasingly they're sending workers for training to learn either how to control these machines or to repair these machines. And back to the low altitude economy, drones. We're seeing a lot more training institutes pop up all across China, and traditional industries like security, construction, logistics as well, and tourism companies even, they're sending the workers there to learn, because that really is one way for them to remain employable. Now, Shan, I want to jump in here again. That's the problem of industry nature or excessive competition, like what we've seen with EVs, electric vehicles. Do you think this could be something that we're seeing in the low altitude economy moving forward, and how should they guard against it?
Yes, it's a very good comparison, and I'm pretty glad that the top leaders has realized that over-competition is now a problem in China, or in the Chinese word we call it 内卷. And as you mentioned, it's pretty severe for the EV industry. And last year, actually, there were several meetings. The top leaders said, okay, I'm going to stop this, and I encourage the industries to discipline themselves. So we do not want 内卷 anymore, over-competition anymore. And actions are being taken place. This year, the summer, the state market for regulation actually hold a meeting with many industries saying that, okay, you need to discipline yourselves. And also, I'm going to crack down any illegal activities and to strengthen supervision over the industry non-market behaviors. So that is good news. And the more important one, I think, it actually came from last year, the third plenum. Chinese leaders put very heavy emphasis on the idea of the unified domestic market, by which actually you can think that you need only one market, not just that every province is its own market. So that means the companies are encouraged to move around, not just being retained by local governments by various subsidies and the other tax benefits. So that on one side, that means that probably the Chinese government are no longer looking at the production side subsidies to support the companies. But on the other side, the support will come from the demand side, which help the industry to grow more sustainably.
Hey, thanks so very much for your analysis. Really enjoyed that chat. Thank you so much for spending a part of your Friday with us, Shan, partner and research economist at Hutong Research in Shanghai, as well as CNA's Deborah Wong in Hong Kong.